Hey Gear Seekers, I'm Nick. It's been a little bit of a while since we've checked out a new Z490 board. This time we're checking out the MSI MEG Z490 Unify. It's the RGB free version of the Z490 Ace. Claire, I can't believe no RGB is now a feature.
Fantastic.
That's crazy, right? Anyway, let's check it out. As usual with our motherboard videos, they are not reviews, they're just overviews so you can get a bit of a closer look at what comes with this board and what's physically on the board if you decide to buy one for yourself. So let's check it out. Alright ladies and gents, let's take a bit of a closer look at the MSI MEG Z490 Unify. It's the no RGB version of the Z490 Ace. First, we need to take the motherboard out of the box so we can take a bit of a closer look at the board itself and all the stuff. First off, we've got an array of RGB cables, even though this board doesn't have RGB. First up is the Corsair RGB cable. It does have a J Corsair header. There's also a 4-pin RGB splitter cable and another RGB cable that's typically used for fans from Fantex and Lian Li. Next up, we've got some SATA cables or your SATA cables for your 2.5-inch SSD drives. This is some pretty standard stuff from MSI motherboards to include. There's also some M.2 screws for the 3 M.2 slots that are built into this board, which we'll take a bit of a look at a little bit later on in the video. There's also an antenna for the Wi-Fi AX or Wi-Fi 6 that is built into the Z490 Unify. There's this awesome little sticker. It's the non-RGB version of the MSI badge that'll give you around about 48 million frames per second in either Valorant or Fortnite at 8K. Some pretty crazy technology that's been invented here. Next up is this plastic circular device that no one knows what it is and no one has any need for it in 2020, and some people even say that you can use it as a coaster to put your drink on, but realistically it doesn't exist. It's actually invisible. Next up is this little product catalog. It's the Gamers and Creators. That's what it's made for, I guess. And it shows all of MSI's latest products. Okay, what else we got in here? This is a little card that says, "Thank you for choosing a MSI product. This product was made with great passion and we hope you could enjoy it." Me too. I hope I could enjoy it too. There's also this little card that shows you how to join the MSI rewards program. Don't worry, this QR code doesn't mean anything. It only takes you to the website for this offer. There's also some stickers for the SATA cables or SATA cables for your 2.5-inch SSDs or your spinning rust drives. Pretty standard MSI stuff here. There's a quick installation guide for helping you socket your CPU and installing a factory cooler if your CPU includes one. This is great for first-time builders and if you've built 84 billion times. There's also this user guide which shows everything on the board, where it is, where to plug everything in, and it's a great bit of documentation, again, if you've built 48 billion times or one time. Alright, motherboard's unsheathed. It's time to take a bit of a closer look at all the things on the board. First up, we've got the front panel audio connector. There's a 12-volt RGB header. There's also a 3-pin 5-volt RGB header. That's the addressable RGB header. There's 3 PWM fan connectors. There is a Thunderbolt 3 header that is activated if you use a Thunderbolt add-in card. There's 2 USB 2.0 headers for legacy things like RGB controllers and AIOs. There's an LED switch, which means you can turn all of that RGB off, even though it doesn't have any. There's a power and reset button. There's a postcode LED screen and the front panel connector for all your lights and all of your switches. And yes, this is a Corsair header. It's called the J Corsair header. So yeah, it is for Corsair RGB. There's 6 SATA or SATA ports for your 2.5-inch SSDs or your giant old spinning rust drives. There's also a USB 3.2 header. It's a right-angled one. I actually like them being on this angle a lot better. There's also a USB Type-C header. There's a 24-pin power connector to send all of that juice to your brand new Z490 Unify. There's a diagnostic LED array as well, which is actually pretty handy for diagnosing things on the fly, and another PWM fan connector. If we take a look across the top of the board, there is another PWM fan connector. There's another 3-pin 5-volt addressable RGB header, another J Corsair header. Yes, it is Corsair RGB. See how it says Corsair on there? There's an additional PWM 2M fan connector for an AIO pump and a CPU fan, and 2 8-pin EPS connectors to send all the juice to that 10th gen Intel CPU. There's 3 full-size by 16 PCIe slots. The top one is by 16, the middle one is by 8, and the bottom one is by 4, and there's also 2 by 1 slots on there as well. And if we take a look at the board, it has a passively cooled chipset because this is Z490. It doesn't require anything to be actively cooled, and the VRM layout on this board is as follows. It's a 16-phase digital VRM setup with 90 amp power stages. The I/O cover is basically a heatsink for half of that VRM. There's also a fan inside there too, and there's also another chunky heatsink along the top side of the board. Now this board uses Intel's brand new LGA1200 socket, which only supports Intel's 10th gen CPUs. It is not electrically compatible with the older 9th gen stuff, but the cooler mounting is identical to basically every other motherboard for the last 12 years or so. And if you flip the board over, there's not actually a lot going on here. There are some little indicators for keep out zones for your case standoffs. The board also has 4 DDR4 RAM slots, which support a total of 128 gigs of RAM with a maximum overclock speed of 4800 megahertz. And now if we speed it up a bit and take the heatsinks off the M.2 slot, as we take a bit of a closer look, you can see that there's 3 NVMe M.2 slots on the board as well. If we peep around the backside, we'll take a look at the rear I/O. There's a BIOS flashback button and a clear CMOS button. There's a PS2 connector and some USB ports. You'll also notice there is a vent for the cooling for the VRM setup. There's a bunch of USB 3.2 ports. It's got 2.5 gigabit Ethernet, USB Type-C. There's also antenna connectors for the built-in Wi-Fi 6 or Wi-Fi AX. There's 7.1 digital surround sound with SPDIF and optical output, and an integrated I/O shield. But it's time to visit our friends over at Peel Corp. So let's get that peel started so we can take a bit of a closer look with some B-roll. You guys ready? I am. Let's do it. Ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed our first look at the MEG Z490 Unify from MSI. If you're wanting to grab one of these boards for yourself, they're going for around 599 Australian dollars and around 350 US dollars at the time of filming this video. And I'll put links to Amazon affiliate links down below in the description. If you use those links, they do help us out a whole lot. And I'd also just wanted to talk about why I say the things I do at the start of the video, because these videos are not reviews, they're just overviews. And the reason why I continue to say them is because not everyone is used to watching our videos, and they're for people who haven't watched our videos before. So yeah, anyways, if you guys like the music you heard here, I make all the music. It's available over on our Patreon, Floatplane, and also if it's one of our older tracks, it's available on Apple Music and Spotify. Okay, Clay, are we done? Yeah. Cool, all right. Anyways, guys, once again, thank you so very much for watching. I'm your boy Nick with Gear Seekers. You peek, we seek, and we have a build with no RGB coming very soon with the Unify. And Claire, again, I can't believe that no RGB is now a feature. I know. Like 5 years ago, having no RGB was normal, and now it's a feature. Amazing. Crazy. What a world we live in. 2020, huh? Crazy times. Thanks for watching.